Welcome to Season 2 of the Just Us podcast. This is a conversation with Pastors Aaron and Diane about faith, family, freedom, and fun. Be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss anything we share. So let's start today's podcast.
Hey, welcome to the latest edition of the Just Us podcast with Pastor Aaron and Pastor Diane. This isn't Pastor Diane today, it's Pastor Devin. But we love it when you tune in for conversations about things like faith, things like family, things like freedom, and even some stuff about fun. And so the reason why Pastor Devin is here today is I had this crazy idea, which I hope I don't live to regret, but to say, hey, just come in and join the podcast and ask me questions. So I said, you can ask me questions about things about faith, things about family, things about freedom, things about fun. So I have no idea what he's going to ask me. I said, just don't ask me about the building of the tabernacle and its dimensions.
Yeah, I was going seven seals.
Seven seals?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, if that works, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Anyways, thanks for hanging out, Pastor Devin.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. It's fun.
Being with us. And so, we can talk about whatever needs to be talked about. We're going to answer all of your questions today and solve the world's problems.
Let's go. So I have them in four categories.
Right.
So kind of like a Bible area, some life stuff, ministry, and some fun questions. Just kind of like, just kind of that way you know where we're going. So we'll just start with the Bible area.
Okay.
So who are your go-to pastors that you listen to like throughout the week? Like what are your go-to ministries you're listening to, like podcasts, messages? Like who are your kind of your people, I guess?
Yeah, that's a good question because I found that it changes every so often, and I don't know about you, but sometimes I get in a vein of listening to certain guys, and it could be because they're saying things that maybe I need to hear during a certain time. But I'd say right now, me and Pastor Diane have been really, really reconnecting with watching Pastor Nancy Dufresne. Mm-hmm. I think in the area of faith, like right now, she just has so much to just really say, and it is just such good faith stuff, the stuff that just really rocked our world and revolutionized just how, because I didn't come up in a faith circle, a charismatic circle, but so when we started just hearing those things about your resources, health, all that kind of stuff, faith stuff, I believe she's just bringing back some old school faith stuff. Yeah. And so we've really enjoyed watching her. Yeah. I really lately have been loving listening to Bill Johnson's teachings. He just has some really good faith, Holy Spirit, life stuff. Mm-hmm. I think if I'm mowing the yard or doing something, I find myself really listening to him. Still love listening to Jensen Franklin. Yeah. Those are three kind of different camps, mm-hmm. but just really, really good stuff. I'd say probably those, and I love listening to Dr. Bridges too, who we've had in several times. But I'd say that's right now who I probably tune into. That's cool. I'm sure I missed, and it's not like I don't like some of the others, but that's been the three lately. I would say 3 or 4 lately that I probably have spent the most time listening to. That's awesome. How about you?
Yeah, I love Pastor Jensen. That's like my when you said that's like one of my go-tos every week, trying to listen to him. I feel like he's such a good job of like faith and Holy Spirit, and just like there's a good mix there with Pastor Jensen.
Yeah, he's what I like about him is he gives you a deep truth at a real applicable level.
Yes. Yeah.
Which that's usually who we like to listen to the
absolutely.
best.
Yes.
Like I can do that.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, I love that. All right, so let's do another Bible question.
Okay.
What is your go-to when you're studying out the original language? Mm-hmm. Like if someone's trying to do that on their own, what would you tell them to do? Would you tell them just Google it, ask
mm-hmm.
AI? Is there a book you go to? Someone's listening, you're trying to, hey, I want to know what this really means in the original language. What's a simple way for them to do that?
Mm-hmm. Well, first of all, I can be a word junkie sometimes because I love to, because the New Testament was written in Greek, mm-hmm. and so obviously I don't read Greek, and so sometimes when it is translated to English, the way I say it is sometimes the words lose a little bit of punch. Yeah. It doesn't mean they're wrong. It just the Greek language has a little bit, just like if it was transferred from English to Greek, and so I love to pick apart the New Testament scriptures, especially and the Old Testament, but. what I find the best thing to do is I like to approach it from a couple angles. One, you obviously you can log on to a good concordance online.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, listen, back in the day when I started, they didn't have like Google and log on. Everything was like 5 of the biggest books you've ever seen. You got to turn the pages and find all that stuff, and it's you can do it so much more efficient now.
Yeah.
But my go-to when I'm transcribing a word or any scripture is Rick Renner.
Yeah.
Rick Renner is, I should have said him too.
Yeah.
But Rick Renner is probably the best faith theologian.
Mm-hmm.
And man, when he says it, I mean, he reads Greek, he interprets Greek, and when he says it, he gives you the expanded version. And any time that I'm wanting to find out a little extra from, like what the words really mean and what the Greek words really mean is as I go to Rick Renner.
Yeah.
And Andrew Womack too. Mm-hmm. And there's a website called Precept Austin I use a lot.
Cool.
Or a lot of people use logos, but
Yeah.
man, if I really want to know what it really says, Rick Renner.
Yeah,
I could have just said Rick Renner. I went through all that stuff,
That's
but
great.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he is so reliable and so trustworthy. So cool. So let's move on to life. Talk about some life stuff. So we got a couple of questions here.
Okay.
So as far as when it comes to being a dad, so kind of fatherhood stuff, what is one thing you've learned that's been unexpected? Not like, I guess the simple things like, I should listen to him. But like, I guess like, is there someone's like, oh, that's a life lesson I didn't really expect that to learn, but it's been really, really good for me to learn that being a dad.
Yeah. No, I have girls.
Yeah.
And so I wasn't really wired for girls. I'm like, suck it up, get out there, get back in the field, put some tape on it and it'll work out.
Yeah.
And you can't do that with girls.
Yeah.
Okay. Because the emotional part.
Right.
And so I sort of had to learn the hard way with the emotion part. And I would say after a few times of my wife having to say, you can't respond that way. Mm-hmm. Because like I said, I grew up in a locker room, you know what I mean? Like guys, we can smack each other around, walk out and do a fist bump.
Yeah. Yep.
But man, girls, if you say or do it wrong, it has a tendency to linger.
Yeah.
And so I that would probably be the biggest thing learning. And in return, I think that helped me to be more aware of being more sensitive and aware to just what people go through and deal with. They've helped me with that. And so they've and my daughters are so different, just like everyone's kids are, but Faith's a lot more like me, Cass is a lot more like her mom. And but I had to learn to communicate.
Yeah.
And any time in any relationship, whether it's at work, or whether it's at home or family or whatever dynamic, sometimes you got to learn to communicate. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it would be like if I spoke Spanish and you spoke English, we would have to find out how to communicate to know, I've been in other countries before, and after a few days you can kind of you can figure out some common language, and you have to do that with people's personalities, and especially in the family dynamic, and learning to communicate. It can be some work, because you can't just talk your language. People don't know what you're talking about, and I had to learn that. Yeah. I just thought everybody knew what I was thinking, and everybody talked the same language, and they don't. Yeah. And so that was a forced lesson, but that was a good lesson. That was a good lesson.
Good. That's really good. So sticking in that same vein, in the context of marriage, what is something that you guys have put into practice that's really helped your marriage grow? I mean, it's something. It could be as practical. No. It can be as practical, date night or whatever. But like, if someone's out there like, I want my marriage to grow, what's something you guys have put into practice? I guess that's really helped it.
These are good questions.
Thanks.
I think the biggest thing with marriage, and I'll start with saying this, and anytime we do like some pre-marriage prep with couples getting ready to get married, we always tell them this, like, when we got married, I knew this, like, she was hot and she loved Jesus. Mm-hmm. And that was about it. No one prepared like us at all. Yeah. And I look back and the things we get to tell people that we've learned, I'm like, I wish someone would have told me this. Mm-hmm. I wish, you've heard it said probably that they say we teach people to drive a car, more effectively than we teach people to be married.
Wow, that's good.
And so that's, so we really, we had good pastors, but we didn't prepare us at all.
Yeah.
I mean, at all. And so, you just go into it and, then changes come, like your kids come, life comes, have to navigate different things. And I would say this, intentionality.
Yeah.
You just have to be intentional. There's a lot of stuff we did really well, and there's a lot of stuff we didn't. But man, when you're just intentional, we always said this, divorce is not a word we're ever going to use. And we've been intentional to like work at stuff.
Yeah.
We've been intentional to forgive. We've been intentional. And here's the deal, even with raising kids, like, we've kind of been in a relationship series, and when you read Ecclesiastes and it says 1 is better than 2, but 3 is better than 2.
Yeah.
It's you and them and the principles of God.
Yeah,
and here's the deal. You got to trust the seed.
Yeah.
Because the word of God, the seed, it will produce fruit. It will produce a harvest. And when you're intentional about sowing the seed and watering the seed, and let's face it, man, it's, the Bible is agriculturally written in the New Testament. And so, we're in the microwave culture.
Yep.
We want to put it in the microwave,
Yep.
push 30 seconds and be done. And relationship doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
And so your harvest doesn't come next week. It doesn't come tomorrow. And if you're sowing the right seeds now, when you need that harvest, that harvest could be needed because of a life challenge.
Yeah.
It could be needed because of something you weren't expected. It could be needed just because of your age is different or just things. You'll have that fruit.
Yeah.
But if you're unwilling to like intentionally sow that, you can't, if I don't go out in the garden and plant, I mean, I'm not a gardener, but I know enough that if we didn't go out and, dig up the ground and plant something and water it, I can't go out there and harvest it. And some people are waiting for a harvest. They never, they didn't sow. Or some people they're trying to go to the bank and withdraw something they never deposited. And you can't do that.
Yeah.
And so sometimes we just got to slow down and invest the right stuff.
Yeah, that's really good.
Yeah.
That's really good. It's good stuff.
I don't know what she would tell you, but that's what I would say.
Next podcast, you'll find out.
She would be like,
right.
Well, it depends on.
Then guess maybe you'll find out next podcast.
I hear all the time, you don't pay attention. I was like, huh? What? What are you talking about?
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so 2 down. We've got 2 more categories to go.
Right.
We got some time. So, all right. So this is about ministry, kind of the aspect of ministry.
Okay.
So I got a couple questions here. So this is one I guess you can talk about it from a ministry perspective, but I think it hits home with everybody.
Sure.
Is what do you do with the doubt? Like whenever maybe you're preaching and it's not going like you thought, or you know what I mean, or maybe I thought there was going to be 400 people at this event and there was 100 people.
Sure.
Like just the things that like. Yeah. The doubt, you know what I mean? But I think all of us deal with doubt. Maybe it's not from the platform, but it's, doubt in anything. Like, what do you do with that doubt?
So there's a couple things you do with it. One thing is we can get really like narrow-minded.
Yeah.
We can get really in the immediacy of things. God doesn't look at things from an immediate point of view. God looks at it from a bigger perspective. Like one of the best examples I ever heard is if you go to a parade and you're on the parade route, you can see a little bit what's coming. You can see like what's in front of you, and a little bit goes by you.
Yeah.
Because you're at street level. But God's on top of the building.
So good.
He can see the parade before it starts, when it's moving.
Yep.
He can see when it passes by and what's next. And we got to lean into God's point of view because we have to take a little bit wider look at things.
Yeah.
When in life or like in ministry, we've had events that have been like amazing, and we think we're the most awesome thing. Then we have another thing like, how come nobody showed up?
Right.
But you got to take a bigger view.
Yeah.
And when you plan and when you do things, you got to think all of these things are part of a plan for what your values are or what you're, what you're wanting out of something. And so if we have a men's thing or women's thing or an event or a picnic or whatever, it's all part of it.
Yeah.
And so you got to look at a bigger picture. And when you do, you'll be able to see like the fruit going on. Because if not, like I said, we'll get stuck on something that just didn't go like we wanted it to. And if we get too focused on that, You know, you've probably heard this before, but I actually I've heard athletes say this, quarterbacks, and they say, you know, you're probably never as bad as your critics, but you're never as good as some people think you are either. Yep. So a good balance. And here's the other thing, and I think this translates to not even just ministry, but here's something I think sometimes we forget, especially like when we teach faith a lot, is faith and doubt can work in you at the same time. Yeah. And just because you have doubt, which is a natural thing, doesn't mean you don't have faith. Yeah. So because we're human, right? Mm-hmm. And we all, you know, we know we're supposed to see things, confess things, stand on things. Yep. But, you know, sometimes things don't turn out like we want them to, or Absolutely. As fast as we want them to. And sometimes we just need to know, like, you know what, there's some doubt working here. Mm-hmm. Faith and doubt can work in you at the same time, just like health and sickness can. Yeah. Well, it's what you feed.
That's good.
You know what I mean? And if you just keep feeding the faith, it's like if a stray dog shows up at your house, if you feed him, you might want him to leave, but he's going to keep coming back. And so doubt, if you keep feeding it, you know, it's going to keep coming back. And it doesn't always just show up as the same doubt. Next time it shows up as a little bit more worry, as a little bit more anxiety. Yeah. And whichever one of those two things is the most consistent, that lets you know, like, what you're feeding the most. That's good. And so it's okay if doubt is there. Yep. And so, well, I don't want to say it's okay, but I'm just saying it's normal.
Right.
And so it's not, but here's the other side of it. I don't have enough faith, or I had this thought of doubt. Well, we're all going to have thoughts of doubt. Absolutely. But you got to cancel it out with some faith. Yep. And if you, especially, sometimes you just get sometimes unbelief is just life and normal. And sometimes it's just a strategy of the devil.
Absolutely.
And when we're just strangely dealing with unbelief and we're just shaking our heads like, why? That's when we need to step back and say, okay, well, I need to take some inventory here of why that's there. Mm-hmm. But I think people just need to know, like, you know, just keep feeding the faith. Yeah. Keep feeding the faith.
Good. That's really good.
And I love one thing that Pastor Nancy Dufresne says, you got to practice these things. Yeah. Just because you preach it and you hear it and you know you should do it, it's like anything else. You just got to practice. You get better at it. You get more skilled at it. Yeah. You know, if you're learning to, like, play guitar, the more you practice, the better you're going to get. Absolutely. And if you don't practice, you don't get skilled at it.
That's good. That's really good. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, so we got time for 2 more questions.
All right. 2 more questions.
So these are fun questions. We'll end on some fun stuff.
All right.
All right. So if you had a year off from work, ministry, just a complete year off, what would you do with that year?
I would ask for a second year. No.
That's great.
You know, I know a lot of people are like, I'd travel. Mm-hmm. But sometimes you spend so much time traveling. Yeah. You know how it is. You go on vacation, 3 days are on the road. Yeah, right. So I think I would break up half of that year, sticking my fingers in the sand at the beach, and the other half of the year sticking them in a stream in the mountains.
Let's go.
I love both, and as long as I could do both of that, I'd be happy.
That's awesome. That's cool. Yep. All right. So last question. Question. So we have the Chosen series, about the life of Jesus. Yeah. We have the House of David, all about David. What other biblical character or story or whatever line should they go with next? Like, what should they make next? What, is there a Bible text like, oh, that would be a cool series, or that would be a cool, spin-off? Like, what do you think?
Yeah. Wow, Pastor Devin, these are good questions. You know what I think? If somebody, I got to figure out how to say this. Yeah. If somebody could take on the end times and...
Like Left Behind?
Well, okay, this is why I'm choosing my word. If somebody would take on the end times and come from a really good, I'm talking about from a production storyline, from some really good writers. Yeah. I would want it to be balanced with the amazement of Hollywood. Yeah. And the truth. Yes. And somebody that could do that. Yeah. Because if you get just too caught up in all the biblical absolutely thoughts. Yes. Then you're just going to give people aren't going to understand some of it. Right. And if you just come from Hollywood, then you're changing the script.
Yes.
But if you could get somebody that could do like the cinematography of Hollywood,
absolutely,
and mix it with someone who could just take the truth,
yes,
and make it so understandable and applicable to people in our culture, absolutely, in this day and age, I think that would be amazing. Cool. I know. So Mel Gibson's kind of doing the follow-up to The Passion, and I think they have some stuff written, some apocalyptic stuff. I don't know if that will ever come about, but that's how I would answer it, because, I mean, like, you see some of it, and it's so churchy.
Absolutely.
That church people, we're gonna be ready for the rapture, whether Left Behind is cool or not, right?
Exactly, right.
So we're trying. Who are we trying to scare? Scare. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely, right.
So it's just scary.
Yeah. It's like one of those things where production has gotten so good. You know, you can have a lot of biblical truth and really good production, but it needs both. Like,
here's what. So, like, we've had Joe Morrison before, and he's like an end times genius, but he's full of faith.
Yeah.
Even Rick Renner, that's why I like his end time stuff, is because it has to be mixed with hope and faith, because that's what it's all about. Yeah. When it's just fear, I mean, I think we're missing it, and just understanding, where the end times like plays out, what part of the planet and stuff, because people don't understand. They just think everything's America,
right?
This isn't just going to happen in you know what I mean, in the Midwest. Right. We're completely, absolutely. If we take it and we put it into that viewfinder, we're not understanding.
Yeah, we're missing the whole point.
Yeah. So someone needs to have like theological truth with like brilliant cinematography.
Absolutely. So Dallas Jenkins, if you're watching right now, you're done with The Chosen, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to take on. Yeah. That's cool.
Because, I mean, you know what I'm saying. We've seen 100%. People where you're like, that was cheesy.
Absolutely.
And then we've seen others where it's like, wow. Yeah. But that wasn't a bit accurate at all.
Really good, but none of that was in the Bible.
So did you watch any of the House of David?
I have not seen it yet. I'm watching The Chosen right now, so I'm in the middle of Chosen.
So the House of David had some pretty good stuff. You take a little bit of liberty with storylines. For sure.
Because I mean, there's some things where the details aren't in the text. I mean,
because the scriptures weren't written in a week.
Right.
It's like, what do you do in between? Watch TV.
Right.
So but you can't take too much liberty.
For sure, right.
Because you take too much liberty, now you're changing like the authenticity of things.
Absolutely.
So
yeah, that's cool.
That's what what about you?
I was thinking about this too. I was like, either the story of like the whole text of Elijah and Elisha, whole all those those miracles, the prophets of Baal, all that stuff like that
would be super cool.
That kind of thing, or the life of Paul. Yeah. Like watching, just seeing Paul go from persecuting Christians all the way to starting basically the church outside of Jewish religion. I mean, it'd be kind of cool to see.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone has ever done it, but it would be kind of cool to like pick up when Jesus left the earth.
That would be cool.
And follow the different disciples.
That would be really cool.
And watch what they did and what they went through. Because, all of a sudden they're filled with the Holy Spirit.
Right.
And just even like Peter, Jesus warned him, you're gonna betray me 3 times. Like, I would never do that.
Right.
And then he did.
Yeah.
And then we see Peter on the shore and Jesus shows up.
Yep.
Feeds him a fish sandwich, right?
Absolutely.
And he asks him 3 times, do you love me?
Yeah.
And I always thought that was so cool because he denied him 3 times, but yet Jesus met him 3 times. And the word for love there is actually, every time it's said, it means a closer relationship.
Wow.
And so what it's saying is, Jesus is saying, Peter, do you really love me? How much do you love me that you get over your betrayal and follow me, and let's keep this work going? Your sin's not bigger than my salvation. And so that'd be kind of cool.
That'd be really cool.
The cool thing about the Bible is, I don't think you ever run out of stories.
Never run out. Yeah, you never run out. Yeah.
Never run out of stories. Yeah.
The whole creation, that'd be cool too.
That would be cool.
Genesis, follow Abraham, all those. I mean, there's so much. You could do a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, it's good stuff. That's good stuff. Yeah.
Anyway, hey, good questions. Yeah. Well, I hope we helped you in the midst of all that. So once again, just appreciate you tuning in to the Just Us podcast. Appreciate you guys, and just encourage you to push that out there, just so it helps some people, not just people that call our church home, but somebody that it might be able to encourage, lift them up, and maybe something you asked me, something I said, help somebody somewhere today. So appreciate you guys. Thanks you for tuning in. Appreciate the questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah, good
answers.
Answers.
Some good questions.
Good answers.
Yeah.
That's fun.
All right. Thank you guys.
Thank you for listening today. You can find out more information at justuswv.com. Don't forget to share this week's podcast so more people can hear the conversation. Thank you for joining us. We will see you next time on Just Us.